حي على الفلاح.
Psychologists say that the most productive emotion is the emotion of gratitude. You know, if in your heart you feel grateful, you will be very productive. You will be at the top of your game. You will be at your best. When the Rasul was alive, it was in the desert. Now the desert is very hot. The water is very scarce. With limited water, food is very scarce. With limited food, you're hungry, wealth is very scarce. And when the people from Mecca migrated to Medina, there wasn't much shelter either, because, and you see the Ashab al-Sufa, they used to be sitting, sleeping outside. So, yet the Prophet taught these people with such little physical wealth that before you wake up, or as you wake up, you say, Alhamdulillahi alladhi أحيانا بعدما أماتنا وإليه النشور. Thank you, Ya Rabb, for giving me life after having taken it from me last night. Into you is my return. Not just wealth, life again. Can you imagine what it did to his psyche? And then he goes to the bathroom, he finishes. What does he say? Alhamdulillah, thank you, Ya Rab, for taking away the filth from me. He eats, Alhamdulillah. He drinks, Alhamdulillah. His whole life was gratitude. And psychologists say to be at the top of your game, as in be a more successful version of yourself, you need to be grateful. Do you see when I tell you that the deen was designed to make you successful? And have a look at this. I studied the life of successful according to, human definitions. Heads of industry, entrepreneurs, leaders of big institutions, prime ministers. I searched and researched their lives, and I found certain traits. They are all early risers. They wake up very early, all of them, almost unanimous. They wake up and they meditate, or they read what they call motivational texts to inspire them for the rest of the day, to pick them up. What do you do, or what did the deen prescribe for you to do in the morning? After you have said, your hamd, you wake up, you do your wudu, you stand in salah, and fajr is long recitations of the most motivational text man is ever to know, the divine word of Allah Himself. And then you sit and do your wird, your adhkar. Try this for those of you who haven't. Try to sit and do your adhkar for 30 minutes. See what it does to you for the rest of the day. The deen was made to give you the best of this life and the best of the next. You want to be successful? Obey Allah and obey the Rasul. Follow the path that they put you on. You can't help but be successful. Follow the mannerisms, the etiquettes, the emotional intelligence, the adab, the manners, the characteristics with which the Prophet guided you. You can't help but be successful. And success, as our Sheikh said, is not money, Muslims. Real success, ultimate success, is at the time of death. I want to mention a story with you of a person who lived on the obedience of Allah and His Prophet, and I want to highlight his utterance at the point of death. His name is Amir ibn Fuhayra, was the freed slave of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. But he was loyal, so he stood in the service of deen and to serve and help Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. In the day of Hijrah, the pretext of it was that tribes of the Quraysh, all of them decided to come and attack the Prophet at one go. Jibreel came, Ya Rasul, migrate. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam chose to leave Mecca and come to Medina. But Amr ibn Fuhayra in this difficult moment stood firm. So he was one of the very few people who knew the Prophet is migrating. He was the one who went and got the camels. He was the one that took food to the bottom of the mountain to take it to the Prophet when he was in Ghar al-Thawr. He was the one that brought Abdullah ibn Urayqat to them. He was the person standing in this difficulty, and Allah blessed them to migrate with the Rasul, and he migrated around the same time. Years passed, he's in Medina now, safety. He's become one of the most learned of Muslims. So a person came, a chief of one of the local tribes. He said, "Oh Prophet, can you send us some teachers to teach my people?" So the Prophet sent ashab, teachers, to go and teach new Muslims. Amidst the group is Amr ibn Fuhayra. As they traveled to the tribe of this chief, on the way they camp at night. So they're busy with their campfires. A couple of them have gone and taken the camels out to graze. And as they camp, they get ambushed. So the 2 or the 3 that had gone to graze the animals, they came back and they saw massacre. So as you can imagine, emotions override. He screams, he tried to avenge his friends, and they don't want to hurt him. They've tied him up. They capture him. So one of them said, "Come, look at the dead." They asked him, "Is there anyone here missing?" He said, "Yes, there's one person missing." So he said, "Who is he?" So he said, "Amr ibn Fuhayra." So he said, "Who was he amidst you?" He said, "The best of us." So he said, "Come." And he took him to a man who was dazed. His name is Jabbar, not Muslim. He says, "This is Jabbar." Jabbar, tell him what happened. So Jabbar said, "I came from behind him, behind Amr ibn Fuhayra, and I got my spear and I dug it in his back." And then he smiles and he says, "I succeeded by the Lord of the Kaaba." And he goes, he went up until he disappeared in the clouds. So his friend said, he goes, "The angels took him. I succeeded by the Lord of the Kaaba." Because he lived a life on the obedience of Allah and on the obedience of the Rasul. And when death came, however it came, he was successful. And the greatest success, my dear brothers, as described by Allah and His Prophet, the one who traverses over Jahannam and enters Jannah, indeed he is successful. And the way to do it, whoever obeys Allah and obeys the Rasul, whoever lives a life of a true Muslim with clear understanding of the deen, indeed he has become successful in this life and in the next. May Allah Rabbul Izzah grant me and you success in this life and in the next.